Hello, friends. Welcome to another edition of Afterburner. My name is Ryan Pinder alongside Bobby Germany, also known as Robert Munnich, as the Calgary Flames fall 4-3 to the Nashville Predators. And Bobby, right before we got on air, you had noted they sweep the season series against the Calgary Flames. This was the closest of the three games. Our Nashville trip, we were in attendance for one. The first game of the year was not that close, and here we are. The Calgary Flames, amidst an incredible run of home play and basically since December 1, fall on home ice in a game it looked like they got out to a great start to.
Yeah, it's kind of bizarre. So basically this season, their three games against Nashville are three of the worst games they've played all season, which I think is pretty surprising. And especially when you consider some of the teams that they've been beating up on lately, like Boston's not a bad team. Philly, they beat Edmonton, they beat Vegas. LA, like they've been beating some really good teams lately, and for the Calgary Flames to play the way they have against Nashville Predators this year is kind of surprising. But if you're on Team Tank, then you got to be pretty happy with those results.
It is a perplexing time to be a Calgary Flames fan, and speaking to people around the city and around the province, it's they're only 1 point out. Oh my gosh, they're this many away from first overall lottery ball pole position. Back and forth it goes. It's an incredibly condensed year in the standings, and the drama and roller coaster continues. Welcome to Afterburner. It is a presentation of Bet365. We welcome your comments on the show. If you want to get involved in Afterburner, strictly add a donation of any monetary value, any currency you'd like. You want Swedish kroners, you want American dollars, you want Aussie dollars, Canadian dollars, whatever it is, fire it onto your comment and we will make sure it gets read on tonight's episode of Afterburner. Bobby, a point out is where they were not long ago. I believe after the victory over the Philadelphia Flyers. A point out. My 10-year-old son, who has been just absolutely preaching tank, was like, Dad, they're a point out. I have to start cheering for them to win. And then they do this.
Yep.
And then the standings look a little something like, Yasmin, despite this incredible run, there the Calgary Flames are, fourth from the bottom in the NHL in a tie with Utah and St. Louis, and the Nashville win moves them above 500 and it drops the Flames below 500. I'm in shock at how one-tiered this league seems to be. Aside from Colorado, Dallas, Minnesota, and maybe pick your team in the East, whether it's Tampa who's on a roll or somebody else, I think most of this league is within a 3 or 4 game winning streak from either being out or in home ice. It's insane. It's
unbelievable. And the crazy thing too is just when you take a look at the standings here up on the screen, they're all Western Conference teams outside of the Rangers and Blue Jackets. Like the West is so bad this year. I don't. But
it's not even bad. Like if I was to tell you the Winnipeg Jets were the worst team in the NHL, you'd be like, huh? Like they're not out of it. They're not dead.
They're not out of it.
No
but like
doormats in here. Who is an awful team? Like who would lose to last year's San Jose Sharks in a 7-game series off this list?
Probably, I don't know. Actually, I honestly couldn't.
Nobody.
Tell you, but when I take a look at this list here, like Winnipeg's having a terrible year. You look at their underlying numbers, really bad. Like they're just not having a good year. Vancouver's a tire fire. Chicago without Bedard and Nazar are not a good team. Calgary is not a good team. When you subtract Rasmus Anderson or Blake Coleman from this group, it's over. You know, Utah struggling. St. Louis isn't that good. Like I know it's a lot of mid, but in my opinion, there's a lot of these teams are not very good either. These are not legitimate playoff teams that we're looking at here in the Western Conference.
I would agree. There's a lot of we're close to the playoffs, we're not in, so maybe that means we're okay, and they're not. But there just isn't a doormat this year. That's kind of my point here. I'm going to go back a year and tell you about the standings, just so maybe it makes my point. Maybe I look like a fool. But what? Today is the 3rd of January, 2026. Happy New Year, everyone. The last place team in the NHL last year at this time, Chicago had was 11 games under 500. 11.
Yeah.
They'd played 39 games. They had 13 wins. The Jets are considerably better. They've got a 6-point bulge on last year's, and the Sharks would also be considerably worse. Predators are below where Winnipeg was at. Buffalo was behind them. The Islanders just above that cutoff. I mean, we can debate whether they're just okay, or they're bad, or they're really, really bad, but there just isn't a doormat. Like, I'm not writing the Jets off. They've got Connor Hellebuck still. They've got a veteran roster. Are they played well? No. But like 6 games under. They've got half a season to play, 6 games over. That's not unreasonable.
No, definitely not. No, and just
it's
like
a weird
you said,
year.
It's a crazy year. We've never really seen anything like it, but there still is time for a lot of these teams to turn into that doormat. A couple of them I mentioned already. I do think Chicago's going to fall off. I think Vancouver's going to fall off. Whenever Calgary trades Rasmus Anderson, if it's soon, I think they could fall off and be that team.
Yep.
If they wait until the deadline, I think they'll be a little bit more competitive. So there's still time. But yeah, this has been a wild year. It's Gary Bettman's dream to have all this kind of parity. But even though it's kind of fake competitiveness, because all these
really
teams
is.
They're going for that 8th or 7th spot in the West, one or two of the wild cards, and they're going to get Colorado in the first round, and they're going to get smashed. And it looks great on paper, and probably up until the last game of the season, there's going to be a race, which, like I said, Gary Bettman loves, but at the same time, they're not really that competitive. Yeah,
no, I would agree with that. And it's funny, I'll point out, not long ago, the cutoff in the Western Conference as it stands at this moment, 43 points. San Jose's in at 43. Maybe not by points percentage, as LA would get them. So the Calgary Flames currently sit 3 points out of a playoff spot. But again, they're 3 points from being in a really, really secure top 3 spot for the NHL draft lottery. It is every year we come in and we say, by Christmas, it'll all be clear. And it just gets foggier and murkier and harder to figure out what the hell's going on.
The other crazy thing is when you take a look at the West standings, basically, so every team in the Pacific Division has a negative goal differential, which I don't know if we've ever seen that before. Like Edmonton and Vegas somehow have negative goal differentials. And then all the teams that are in the mix for a wild card spot have negative goal differentials, except the Utah Mammoth, who are at +5. And that probably stems from having a hot start to the season. But yeah, this Western Conference is ugly. Like St. Louis, a -39 goal differential right now. Like it's ugly. It's ugly.
Blues got to win today. All right. We'll take a closer look at the out-of-town scoreboard and some other things, but do welcome your comments and thoughts on tonight's game. It was a good start for the Calgary Flames, Bobby. They got on the board early, and it looked like they had a 2-0 lead early. We'll walk through some of the action here. Look, they've been great at home. I think the stat was 8-0-1 for Dustin Wolf's last 9 starts with some sparkling numbers. Wasn't his greatest night. There was one Mike Smith impersonation that might have cost them desperately. But we'll start with the goals early on. Flames were looking good, and that's not something out of character, given that, they played some really good hockey at home. They played really well since probably coming back from that nasty 5-game road trip that saw them start in Vancouver and go through the Southeast Division. But a good start, at least tonight.
Yeah, Yan Kuznetsov rips a one-timer to the back of the net. His strong season continues. I think he's been one of the big reasons why I think the Calgary Flames have turned things around. He's basically solidified that D-core for the first 15, 20 games of the year. The D pairings were all over the place, but then all of a sudden you bring up Yan Kuznetsov, and they basically had 3 solid pairs since then. So I actually think he's been a huge reason why this team has started to turn things around, which is great news for the future of the team.
Yeah, it is. And honestly, I believe a guy you could have had for free on waivers at the beginning of the season, and someone that they drafted in the second round way back, but just steady incremental gains year after year, a lot of time in the American League, and they bring them up. And finally, it's not Uyghur plus a random assortment of dudes, whether it's Miramanov or Bean or Hanley. And he's come up. He's solidified that pair with Uyghur, and life's been easier. And interesting on that face-off you see there, he's lined up on the right side despite being the left shot guy. Uyghur on the left side, they get their shots on the inside, win a draw, slide it over, boom. I didn't think Kuznetsov had this type of a ceiling to be someone that could play in the top 4, and maybe when you're a cup contender, he doesn't. But I was at the point where once he clears waivers in this league and every GM's like, nah, we don't want to pay him that near league minimum salary, it might not be that good. And here he is. You're thanking the Lords no one put a claim in for him in October.
Yeah, and so not only does the NHL, the rest of the league show you that they don't think Kuznetsov has that upside, but also the Flames didn't either, because they kept Daniil Miramanov and Braden Pahal and Jake Bean over Yan Kuznetsov. I mean, somebody could have easily taken a waiver claim on him, and I really question that decision. I don't know why they kept Miramanov, and thank God Kuznetsov didn't get claimed, because he's looking like he could be a potential legit like number 4, number 5 for a long time on this team.
And they're really thin at left side, like
big time.
This team has what is one of the rare things to have. That's a lot of right shot defensemen. Rasmus Anderson's already, Mackenzie Weegar's already. At the World Juniors, you're looking at Zane Parekh, right side. Brstevich, right side. Pahal, who we haven't seen in ages, right side. Henry Muse, right side. He's eventually going to arrive in the NHL, in my opinion. That's not normal. You usually have at least one pair where a lefty has to play the right. Meanwhile, on this team, you're like, well, there's Jake Bean who can play the left side. And after that, it's guys that should probably be on the third pair in the press box. It's an incredible find to get Yan Kuznetsov into the mix. Do we have the disallowed goal? Because it's the line that's been driving this team since early December. Backlund, Coleman, and whoever they're playing with. It's Coronado now, but it was Zeri. They've been exceptional. You had the tweet the other day, or I think it might have been it was either you, Pike, or the Flames Nation account. But Backlund's been on an absolute bender here since the start of December.
Yeah, he has. He's been unbelievable. I could pull it up right now. I don't think I put the disallowed goal in the folder.
And just offside, we don't need to show it. But point being, they did the things that allowed them to create a goal, and by an eyelash, it was offside. It doesn't count, but it doesn't mean they didn't make a nice play and didn't create offense. It was
a beautiful play. Yeah, it was a beautiful goal had it stood. And the tweet you're referring to, so this is prior to tonight. Michael Backlund over his last 26 games, 8 goals, 11 assists, 19 points, a plus 19, which puts him, I believe, at 11th overall in the NHL during that time. And the Flames have outscored their opposition 18-9 with Backlund on the ice at 5-on-5. And he's doing this in the most difficult matchups. He's not starting in the offensive zone. Like these are big time numbers for this guy. It's super impressive.
Yeah, it's legit. When you can have the heaviest minutes possible, i.e., anytime McDavid's on the ice, your coach is trying to get you on the ice. McKinnon, every team's top line, D-zone starts. Those are the minutes in which he's plus 19 since the beginning of December. And, 3/4 of a point per game over his last 26. That's not a small sample. And it was a rough start for Backlund. It didn't look like his legs were there, but boy, is he looking like one of the better versions of Michael Backlund we've seen in his career at this point, which is wild. He's 36.
Absolutely. And I did some research for an article last summer, and I found out that in the last 12 years, Michael Backlund's received Selke votes in 10 of them.
Yeah.
Like I truly believe that he is one of the most underrated forwards around the NHL. I'm a big fan of his, and I think this year he could be top 5 in Selke voting again if he continues this pace. And the other thing too is, like, he got robbed not making Team Sweden. Like, how does a guy like Alex Wenberg make it over Michael Backlund or Pontus Holmberg? Like, I was shocked by that. I feel bad for Backlund there.
Look, he's had the type of campaign that he could play on a team at the Olympics, but off the top of my head, it's center ice for the Swedes is tough. Joel Eriksson Ek's going to be their shutdown minutes guy, and he's been great. He's basically Backlund with more size and scored 30 goals a couple of years.
Yeah, more toughness.
You've got Elias Pettersson down the middle, and you've got another couple playmaking centers. If you had to rank the Swedish centers, I'm okay with you ranking Backlund 5.
Yeah,
but boy, the way he's playing, it wouldn't be out of place. If there was just one guy that was a winger, not a center, I think he's there. If you're asking him to play 4th line minutes at the Olympics, that's great.
Call me crazy. I actually think he's having a better year than Elias Pettersson. And I cover the Canucks for Canucks Army. I do all their social media, so I watch a ton of Vancouver Canuck games. And there are many nights where Elias Pettersson has zero impact on the game. Yeah. Whereas with Michael Backlund, even if he's not scoring, like, he's still winning face-off. He can play in the penalty kill. He can shut down opposition's top forwards. Like, he brings so much to the table on top of his goal scoring and his playmaking right now. And I actually think he's been better than Pettersson, which I know Canucks fans will probably think I'm insane for saying that, but, like, I watch a ton of both teams, and I really think Backlund's been the better of the two.
Yeah, I wouldn't dispute that. I would say when Team Sweden's saying we're going to go to this tournament, what do these guys, if they play close to their ceiling, give us? Like, at least Pettersson's got, 100-point season under his belt. Like, he's a guy that, when he's right, offers a lot. That is one of the hardest things to find in the league, which is scoring goals. Backlund is the more unheralded skill set, which is to shut down another team's top line. Mm-hmm. But I think it's Eriksson Ek. Like, that's the reason he's on Team Sweden. They're going to be their shutdown center.
He's another underrated guy. I love the way he plays.
We'll keep going with the goals. Instead of 2-0 Calgary, it was a disallowed goal, and all of a sudden 1-1 with the Nashville Predators getting on the board. This was the first.
He's been playing a little bit better as of late,
Mhm.
but I do think it's kind of been a little over exaggerated in terms of like the increased play for Mackenzie Weegar. I still think he's kind of struggling out there. Like he was a -2 tonight. We'll see on the I think it's either the third or fourth Nashville goal. He struggles again. So I don't know what's going on with him. Maybe it's just one of those years where things just aren't going his way. And that happens for basically every single NHL player, but it has been a tough season for him.
Yeah, and 93 seconds later, they're at it again. And again, it's Eric Halla. He was left alone in front in that first goal, and Halla at it again. Nashville goes up 2-1. Halla
defending 2-on-1s, and Halla makes a great well, honestly, it wasn't that great a shot. Dustin Wolf probably should have had this one. It was a little bit weak by him, but the whole sequence was just a mess for the Calgary Flames on this one.
2-1 at that point. Flames get an equalizer before the end of the frame. While Rasmus Andersson is a guy that gets speculated on trade, and obviously last year wasn't his best year. Unlike Mackenzie Weegar, having a hell of a campaign.
Once again, like I keep saying it, you take Rasmus off this team and you basically cut the legs out from underneath them, and I think it's over. I think he is that important to the Calgary Flames right now. He's clearly their best player, and I don't even think it's close right now.
Skater, yeah.
Honestly, I would say best player. I think he's been better than Dustin Wolf. I think he's been more valuable than Wolf.
I think that's fair. But again, if you're deleting one player, how many games have we seen in the last month where it's like, oh yeah, and Dustin Wolf's the first star, the Flames beat a team that they probably had no business beating?
Hey, don't get me wrong. Wolf has been fantastic as of late, but he has been pretty up and down, whereas Anderson's been pretty solid for most of the year here. And you know, and I go back to Weegar. You take away Andersson from this group, and now Mackenzie Weegar is your best defenseman, and he's having the worst year of his career. And then you have some young guys, and you have depth defensemen. All of a sudden, your D-core looks, you know, it's probably one of the 5 worst in the NHL without Rasmus Andersson. I think that's where things really take a hit.
Yeah, and we'll get into the conversation later, but there is a right shot guy that will be returning from the World Juniors at some point. We'll talk about his next destination in a moment. 2-2 with the score through 20 minutes. We go to the second. The only goal is not a Dustin Wolf masterclass. This is a tough one, and it really seemed to it's a misplay behind the net, and it's an easy goal for the Preds that makes it 3-2. It felt like it could have been a nail in the coffin. That's Michael Bunting's 11th of the year, the only goal of the middle stanza. And off to the third we go, where it took a goal in the final 8 minutes of play to get this thing back on even terms, when it felt like that might have been the one that stood up. It wasn't, because
they've been carrying the team. Yeah. They've really been carrying the team.
Like when it's Zeri, it's Coleman, it's Sharon Govich, whoever they're putting there, they look better there, despite playing hard minutes and D-zone starts and other teams' top lines. I think if you are Craig Conroy in a position where you're going to field calls on Blake Coleman and seriously consider moving him, like this is a very valuable asset. 1 more year, $4.9 million. It's 2 playoff runs for a team that adds him, and he's the type of guy every team is like, yeah, that would help our third line. That is a checking line winger that we trust defensively, that can score, that gets the puck to the net. He's got 2 rings. Honestly, you know, I think they're well down the road on we're going to move Rasmus decision, but the Blake Coleman one, you talk about sinking your battleship without Rasmus, you delete Blake Coleman as well.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know why you're not picking top 3. I really don't.
Yep. I could not agree more with you. And I think the highest compliment you could pay Blake Coleman is that he is the ultimate hockey player. He's almost like that 5-tool baseball player where he can score, he can hit, he's got the character, he's incredibly smart, he's got the high hockey IQ, he's tough. Like, he's just literally everything you could possibly want in a hockey player is Blake Coleman. And I am such a fan of his. It really is a shame that the Flames are in the position that they are right now, because I'd love to keep a guy like him. But because of where they are in their winning cycle, it just makes absolutely no sense to keep him. And like, he's 34 years old and he's playing the best hockey of his life. Yeah. And like the In the Dome guys keep saying this. I think it's a great point. The Calgary Flames should be so thankful that guys like Blake Coleman and Nazem Kadri are playing the type of hockey that they are right now.
Yeah.
Because when they signed those deals with the Flames initially, I think a lot of fans must have thought, hey, the last 3 to 4 years of those contracts, they're going to be kind of ugly. It's the complete opposite. These guys are playing some of the best hockey of their life right now. So take advantage of that. Mm-hmm. You know, don't try to stay in the mushy middle. Don't try to push for the second wildcard spot. Take advantage of it and cash in. I just think it makes nothing but sense to me.
No, I'm with you. And look, even with like Jacob Markstrom, like, was it a good signing? Was it not? And it's like, okay, well, they needed a goalie. He was a top of market guy. The cap hit was reasonable. There was some COVID pressure there. They won a bidding war to get him. But at the end of the day, you end up getting a first, which turns into Cole Reshny and Kevin Ball. He's still an asset that had value at the end. Like, it's the same with Coleman at this point. And with 3 years left on Nazem's deal, there isn't a guarantee that the last year of his deal is that, but it is now. You get assets for Nazem. I mean, not often can you say about free agent signings, yeah, we decided to trade them in the last year, and look at this pile of assets we got. That's been the case with some of these recent free agent signings.
Absolutely. And just the frustrating thing with the Flames is that they rarely trade guys who have more than 1 year left on their contract unless that player asks to be moved, which is basically what happened with Jacob Markstrom. But you take a look at all the other deals Craig Conroy's made. They've been either starting the year as a pending UFA, or they've traded them during the season as a pending UFA. And yeah, they're just not very proactive. And I'd love to see that change here, but I'm not holding my breath on it, to be totally honest.
Yeah, we'll see for sure. So Coleman ties it late. The odor of overtime fills the room. I'm thinking about, damn it, it's Cammie's supposed to be doing Afterburner, but she's skiing at Lake Louise, and I was ready to zip in. It's an overtime edit, and it's probably shootout. What time am I done? Oh no, what? We're not getting overtime because with just 29 seconds remaining, the Nashville.
And again, it was Mackenzie Weegar not getting the puck out. Then he loses a puck battle, and then he goes to the middle of the ice, and it almost looks like he screens Dustin Wolf on the play. I mean, granted, there's like 6 guys in front of Dustin Wolf, and he's trying to find the puck and just can't. And that's the dagger that kind of does it in. And there were a lot of things that just did not go the Flames' way tonight. You know, like whether it was Dustin Wolf turning the puck over, the disallowed goal, like from the time they had the disallowed goal to the 2 Nashville goals, that's a 3-goal swing in like 2 minutes. See, like, to me, that was kind of when the game kind of ended for the Flames, if you will. But yeah, just a lot of things did not go well for them. They did not play very well tonight. I thought this is one of their worst performances of the season. And they're that type of scrappy team that even when they don't play great hockey, they're still kind of in the mix. So, but
we talked about it with the misplay on the 3rd goal for Nashville. At that point, I believe they had 13 shots. They only added another 10 in the last 35 minutes. They had a really tough time in the second. They finished with just 3 shots. Nashville wasn't superb, but honestly, if you had to award 2 points to a team tonight, like, the right team got them, I think.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, even if you take a look at the scoring chances on Natural Stat Trick, high dangers, 11-7 Nashville, scoring chances 30-20. This is at 5-on-5. Shot attempts 61-46. Like, they kind of controlled the play for most of the night here. And one thing we didn't touch on there was the whole Beecher stuff going on with McCarron. Do you want to dive into that quickly?
Yeah, let's do that. We've done the goals, so we'll do this first. We've got the gorgeous looking hat here. Now, Robbie, where's your hat? You got a unicorn hat somewhere, don't you?
I think it's
in
my closet, but I just don't want to ruin my hair.
Well, it is good flow tonight, so I'll give you that. Mine less so. It's the ham sandwich. So we're going to go with the unicorn lid. We want to say thank you to our good pals at the Unicorn. 2 locations in town. They've got 223 8th Ave. That is downtown Calgary Super Pub. 3 floors, 3 bars, all in one destination. They've got the sports cantina there, buck hunter, pinball, darts, and more. And it's game day, $7 pints of Molson Canadian there. It's in the heart of Stephen Avenue. And then, of course, you got the Mission location as well, 1919 4th Street Southwest. We got the darts there. Beautiful stuff. Love the Mission location. All kinds of TVs, great atmosphere in a great part of town. Daily specials, happy hour, and brunch on the weekends. Big thank you to the Unicorn.
Hell of a spot. Yeah, get there tomorrow for NFL Sunday. For Steelers Ravens, winning you're in. That's a great spot to watch the game.
It's a heck of a game. We'll revisit that a little later. So you mentioned some of the physicality. John Beecher gets acquired off waivers, I want to say about a month ago. We've actually had some stability in the lines, very minor tweaks since Beecher's arrival. The 3D pairs have pretty much been locked in concrete. The 4 lines, very few changes, the odd Dryden Hunt. But generally speaking, it's been Beecher, Klapka, Lomberg, Backlund, Coleman, playing with Zari. Then you have Coleman with Frost and Huberdeau in the top line. Would be Kadri, Farabee, and Yegor. Yegor. Now, there's been some tweaks. We see Zari Coronado swap spots a bit. Now Zari down to the 4th line tonight. But Johnny Beecher was basically on life support, his NHL career. On waivers, a Boston team that is not a powerhouse says, yeah, we drafted you in the first round not that long ago, but we're done with you. Then the head coach comes out and Marco Sturman says things that aren't massively complimentary. And you're like, okay, so what are the Flames getting here? Big skates, not terribly tough, no offense to speak of. And I want to sort of paint that background with what we see happen as this game starts to get chippy. We have a Lomberg fight. We got Beecher getting involved. Things got physical. So we'll start with some of those clips now. As there has been some back and forth physically with these two teams. I know Weisblatt's been a thorn in their side in the first couple of games. And now at the benches here, you see a slash early. I believe it's Uyghur in on that. Yeah. And then Beecher jumps in and says, I'll take care of business. Boom. There's the gloved
sucker punch.
Yeah, gloved sucker punch. And
now
McCarron doesn't like it. And again, Beecher, if I'm him, I'm like, I'm doing anything to stay in this league right now.
Oh, 100%. And the thing is, like, Beecher had a reason to give him a shot. So, like, if we can put that back up on the screen, Yasmin, what you'll see is Uyghur slashes McCarron, and McCarron just goes absolutely ape shit. And then McCarron drops his gloves. Beecher does not drop his gloves. Beecher is not ready to fight there. And right. McCarron gets two like big time shots in at him.
Gloves
like,
off. Yeah.
Like I would argue like McCarron's punches were like almost as vicious or even more than the one sucker punch here from Beecher. So I think Beecher was just standing up for himself. And I think McCarron kind of had it coming to him. Like, look at that. Like 1, 2, like big punches from a tough guy who usually is, top 10 in the league in penalty minutes and fights. McCarron's a big time heavyweight. Beecher, like you said, he's not necessarily known for his toughness. So, I don't blame Beecher for going at him like that.
Yeah, honestly, I know when the linesmen get in there, people will have opinions, but to your point, like he ate a couple there and it ended up being coincidental. I think it was the rough on one side and then a slash on the other, whatever it was. They washed out. They played 5-on-5, and I was okay with that given the back and forth. Maybe Uyghur gets away with one. Maybe it's Beecher with the sucker punch. But anytime you've got ungloved throws on a guy with his gloves on, refs are going to look for a way to even things out.
Yeah. And it's not a good look. And then later on, when both guys got back on the ice, John Beecher had to fight Nick Hague. And that scrap I did not like. I thought that scrap was just totally unnecessary. I thought both McCarron and John Beecher, they got their licks in. McCarron, like we just saw, 2 big punches. Beecher gets a punch in. Then it's good. Enough is enough. But then Beecher comes out of the box, and now he has to fight Nick Hague for some reason. And Nick Hague, who's a bigger, stronger, better fighter than Beecher, gets the best of him, smacks him in the face a few times. And it looks like Beecher, just based off the way his hand was kind of dangling there, like I don't want to play doctor here or anything, but it looks like he might have like broke his wrist or had a serious arm injury on the play. And it was just totally unnecessary. It did not need to happen. And now Beecher's going to miss probably some pretty serious time. He didn't return in tonight's game. And I just thought it was just so unnecessary. I did not like that fight whatsoever. And now it might cost John Beecher maybe the rest of the season or a month or two. Like, who knows? Like, I just don't like seeing those types of fights.
Yeah, I hear you. I would also say when 2 linesmen are between guys, any punches thrown are also from the other perspective going to be like, that was unnecessary. You didn't need that. And yeah, did Beecher eat a few when his mitts were on? Sure. So let the officials deal with that. But
yeah,
once you've got stripes between you, that's also kind of the code in a different way. Just playing devil's advocate here.
Yeah, but and then like you mentioned, part of the code too is he's teeing off on Beecher, who's clearly not ready to fight, who still has his gloves on. To me, like, you have to drop your gloves to show that you are ready to willingly engage in a fight. And Beecher didn't do that, and McCarron took advantage of it. So I almost feel like they kind of equal each other out, and it should have been fine. It should have been like, hey, we're moving on. This whole thing is over. But then he had to fight Hague, and now he's hurt. And yeah, I don't like seeing guys get beat up unnecessarily like that. It's just, that always kind of bothers me. I love a good emotional fight in hockey, but something like that, I just, once again, I just thought it was kind of careless and didn't need to happen.
Fair. Do we have the Lomberg fight? I know that was earlier in the night.
That was awesome.
Anytime he wants to run for mayor, premier, prime minister, it's his in this market. I mean, he consistently, this time with Cole Smith, gives up height, weight, size, strength. He doesn't care. He understands exactly what his role is. And I don't know that there's a more popular Flame right now. If you lined up everyone and said, who do you want to chat to? Who do you want to get an autograph from? There's certainly guys that have more talent. There's certainly guys that have a better shot at being on a Hall of Fame or saying, look at what he achieved in his career, but I don't know if there's anyone cooler than Ryan Lomberg right now.
This guy's the man. He is the man. I love Ryan Lomberg. And actually, the biggest pop at the Dome tonight was for this fight. It wasn't even like any of the goals. It was this Lomberg fight. Even like when Beasley was announcing it, he's like, 5-minute major to Ryan Lomberg, and the crowd goes nuts after that.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it was so awesome. Like these are the kind of scraps I love. It's just like, it's spirited, it's emotional, it's entertaining. I love Ryan Lomberg. And even like in my last article at Flames Nation, I do like kind of like a weekly notebook. My last kind of note was just about Lomberg. And I was saying, I don't know if you're going to agree with this or not, but I actually think he's very important to this Calgary Flames team moving forward, because in my opinion, like over the next 3 months here, I think things could get pretty rough.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that, kind of team spirits and attitude and culture and all that kind of stuff might take a step back. And I think guys might be kind of a little disappointed with some of the losing that's going to be upcoming here. But I think Ryan Lomberg, being that emotional guy, being that guy who's super positive, who stands up for teammates, who speaks up in the locker room, is funny, all that kind of stuff. I think having a guy like that in your culture is going to be very important for a team that I think is going to start to lose some games here. So if I were the Flames, I would not look to trade him. I actually think he's a valuable guy. And, say they trade him, they get like a 5th round pick or a 4th round pick, for example. I think the benefit of Lomberg in that locker room outweighs a late to mid round draft pick like that.
Yeah, I agree. And I think you're dead on with the whole, like, it's fun coming to the rink when you're on a heater at home and you're chasing down a playoff spot. If it's April 7th and you're way out, like we had one of those seasons, Daryl's last year here. It was like guys did not like going to the rink, and you could tell it was not fun. You need guys to keep it light. You need to have fun. Rhett talks about it all the time. Keep attitude positive, keep the room loose. That said, they've hit on some 5th, 6th, 7th rounders so many years. And I think if you're a team that's like, man, if we could just add one little spark plug into the bottom, like this is the guy you'd love to do it with. Just looking at his contractual status for those curious, it is the last year of his deal, $2 million. He's a UFA this summer. To your point, I don't want to see this guy walk out the door for nothing. I'm either giving him a new deal or I'm taking calls on him. Is that fair?
Oh, big time. And if it's me, I'm giving him a new deal. I'd almost give him the same deal. If you want to do another 2 years at $2 million, I'm all for that personally.
The caveat for me is, what is Klapka long term and where's Marty Pospisil at? And they know more than we do. They've basically nurtured the entirety of Adam Klapka's North American career, and they know what the health status and long-term outlook is on Marty Pospisil, who we've not seen. This team has a glut of wingers, and if they are going to hold on to Coleman and they aren't going to be able to get out from under some of the other wingers that are here, like I do see a glut. And I'm not necessarily saying that like, oh, there's someone in the minors that needs that 4th line left wing slot. But if you have Pospisil and Klapka on the wings on the 4th line, like they're going to have to find room for like next year when Honzek's healthy and
Gridden.
when you get Gridden, hopefully as soon as the spring coming in, never mind all these other kids. Like they just have too many wingers. You might love a guy, but other teams aren't dumb. If you're loving them, there's probably other teams saying like, yeah, maybe it's only worth a 5th, but we'll give you a 4th because of the shit you just talked about, the character, the keeping the room light, like won a cup, not playing a lot in the playoffs. Everyone loved him. Was not a problem when he was healthy. It's an interesting decision and one that's kind of flown under the radar. We talk a lot about expiring contracts, but we haven't said boo on Ryan Lomberg's status, but you're right. You can tell this team loves him and he sets the tone culturally.
Yeah, they always talk about the 6 main leaders. Like I would argue Ryan Lomberg should be at or near the top of that list of leaders. I think he's that important. And when it comes to the glut of wingers, like you were mentioning there, to me, that's when you move out Coleman. That's when you look at maybe moving out a Farabee. That's when you maybe look at moving out a Pospisil. Like those are the types of guys, Sharon Govich, if someone's willing to take him. Those are the types of guys I think you start to move out. Because, Lomberg, he's going to play on the 4th line wing. Do you really want Matt Gridden or William Stromgren playing in that type of role? I think Ryan Lomberg is suited perfectly for that role. And there are other guys you could move who are probably going to be more valuable and fetch you more in deals than he would.
Yeah, I'd suggest there's 3 wingers that you'd actually get positive value back for. Like I think Zeri's young enough, someone will believe in him, you'll get an asset. It's not going to be the first to use to draft them. You're not selling high, that's for sure. But you get assets. Certainly Blake Coleman's a guy that would fetch you a return, to be sure. But like the list gets short real quick. Like you're not moving Coronado. No one's taking the Igor deal. I'm not sure about the Joel Farabee deal. Now you're eating money. You only get 3 retention slots. It might limit what you can do down the road. Like you might not want to do it, but I could see it happening.
Yeah, and with Farabee, another option too is if he literally has no trade value, if you have to attach an asset to move on from him, you could always buy him out in the summer too. His buyout is very manageable. Like they barely charge it, but
I don't know that this organization has a long history of buying out guys that aren't entire disasters. And he's not there. He's a good player. He's just making a
he's not Troy Brouwer.
No, and at $4 million, I think no one's got a problem with him. It's not like it's a massive overpay. This isn't Jonathan Huberdeau with 90% signing bonuses moving forward, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so Flames 1 game under, Nashville 1 game over. We'll take the schedule. I'll look at the schedule ahead. It's funny. I went on vacation, and this whole schedule has been cemented into my brain when we're talking about, okay, like the holidays are going to be good. You got Vegas coming in on a Saturday. You got the 2 Edmonton games. The New Year's Eve game is going to be Philly. Boston comes to town. That's a once-a-year visit. But it feels like I'm wandering into the unknown abyss here as we turn the calendar to 2026. I saw you tweeting about it. A winnable portion of the schedule coming up before things get really, really nasty out of the Olympic break, which will be mid-Feb.
Yeah, I mean, so like their next few games here, they got Seattle, which is a very winnable game on Monday. Then they go on a 5-game road trip, and they have been terrible on the road. So, maybe opponents don't matter as much in that regard just because they have been so bad. But it's Montreal, Boston, Pittsburgh, Columbus, Chicago. They're not world beaters by any stretch. Then you got the Islanders, the Devils, who are kind of hit and miss, Penguins, Capitals, Ducks, and then you kind of got like the Sharks. Moving into February, Leafs, Oilers, Sharks, and then after that, then it's just a nightmare. Basically, February 28th, a lot of that mid end of the season is a disaster.
A lot of the mid tier.
Yes.
Again, if you're telling me who the worst 3 teams in the league are, I'll give you Chicago. I don't know the other ones. I don't think it's Winnipeg.
But then you go to March. So this is the difficult part of their schedule. So this is starting March 1st. You got back-to-back in LA and Anaheim, and then it's Dallas, and then it's teams like Carolina, Washington on the road, New Jersey on the road, Detroit, who's having a good season, Florida, Tampa, Anaheim, Colorado, Vegas, Anaheim, Dallas, Colorado. Like Colorado, it's crazy. They're at the final part of their schedule here. So that's why I keep saying if they trade Rasmus Andersson, which they should, with him gone and the difficult schedule, I think things are going to fall off for this team unless Dustin Wolf just plays out of his goddamn mind, kind of like he did last year. But even then, I still have a hard time seeing this team push for the playoffs.
Yeah, I agree entirely, and that is a bit of a murderer's row there. I mean, I don't know the difference between the bad teams and the mid teams. It feels like they're all in one clump right now, but the best teams, you all name them after the Olympic break.
Yeah.
I wonder when the best time to trade Rasmus Andersson is, or a Blake Coleman, if you are going to move him, if Nazem Kadri calls you or you make the call, it's time to do it. Do you want this done before the Olympic break? Yeah. Because I think there's a huge advantage to a team acquiring a player. You're talking about early February versus early March, and the playoffs begin mid-April. That's not a lot of time in new surroundings if it's a deadline deal.
Yeah, 100%. And then also with the case of Rasmus Andersson is you just want to avoid an Olympic injury at all costs. That would be an epic disaster if that were to happen. And with the way Andersson plays, his physicality and his shot blocking, it's not crazy to think that there is a potential for him to get an injury here. I know he's been incredibly durable throughout his entire career, which is great. But we saw it last year, he blocked that one shot and broken fibula. Those things happen. So yeah, if they could get it done before the Olympic break, that would definitely be ideal. They should get it done as soon as possible. They really should just do what the Canucks did with Quinn Hughes and just do a bidding war and try to get this trade done as soon as possible so they can kind of bottom out a little bit and avoid the whole injury thing.
One more remaining on the homestand. It's been a lengthy one. They went Edmonton, Boston, Philly, Nashville, win, loss tonight. They closed the homestand Monday night, and then it's on to the road. It's a big one. 5 in a row on the road, as you noted, Montreal, Boston, then Pittsburgh, Columbus, Chicago, New York. There's one back-to-back in there. It starts with the back-to-back. Montreal and Boston back-to-back nights. And again, aside from Chicago, I don't know who's bad in this league. Columbus at times has looked good. Other times they're not. They're bad in the East, which means they're what? A 5-game winning streak from being great in the East? I don't know.
100%.
So we'll see. That is your road ahead. We do that every Afterburner for our good friends at Platinum Mitsubishi, family owned and operated by lifelong Calgarians. The 2025 model year clear out is on at Platinum. Incredible deals available on all remaining 2025 vehicles, including the RVR, the Eclipse Cross, the Outlander PHEV. Take advantage of up to $10,000 in savings and 0% financing on select vehicles while the 2025 inventory lasts. Find them again on Barlow Trail Northeast, 2720 Barlow Trail Northeast. Yeah, honestly, Bobby, you're very logical, and I like where your head's at on the big picture stuff. And I almost wonder why it feels so hard for the Flames to feel the same way. Because to your point, Craig Conroy will take care of business, but he doesn't necessarily enjoy doing it before, we start to see the few remaining grains of sand in the hourglass. Mm-hmm. The only exception I can think of was the Jacob Markstrom deal, which you had noted it was probably time for both sides to move on. And, his name got out there in some trade rumors earlier in the year. He didn't seem to like that. And then in the summer, it was time to go. There was 2 years left on Markstrom's deal, if I'm correct with that one. Everyone else he's moved has been a rental. Zadorov, rental. Toffoli, rental. Backlund, they re-up. Lindholm, rental. Tanev, rental. Hannafin, rental. On and on we go. Why is it so hard? Like, what are we missing here that the Flames know that we don't?
Well, I think the common theme, and this really goes back to the lockout in 05, is it's upstairs. It's the very top of the organization. What you just described there is not Craig Conroy's fault, in my opinion. This has been going on literally since I've basically been a fan of this team. This organization, they're never proactive in any of their decision making, and like I said, it dates back to Daryl Sutter as GM. It dates back to Jay Feaster and Brad Living. They all did the exact same thing, and I think it's because the mandate from the very top, from ownership, is you have to stay competitive. We want to keep these guys for as long as possible, and we're basically only going to deal with them if they're a pending UFA, or we'll just let them walk for free. I think the only times that I can think of, when I look back on it, the times that they've been proactive was, like they moved Dion Phaneuf in his prime, but
for a horrible return,
and I don't know why they did it.
Yeah.
So, but they traded a young guy who seemed to be a distressed asset for some reason. I don't know why. And it was basically Jacob Markstrom. But like, you take a look at it, Jay Bouwmeester pending UFA, Jerome McGinley pending UFA, Chris Russell, Yuri Hoodler, Curtis Glencross, all those trades. They let Brody Giordano walk for nothing. They wait till the last second to deal Michael Frolik, and it costs them an extra 3 years of Matthew Tkachuk. And then all the deals that you just said. It all stems from the very top. And I think Craig Conroy understands where they're at. I think he's smart enough. He's been around the league long enough. He's been around this organization long enough. He knows that this team is not good enough and that they need to rebuild, but I just don't know if he's allowed to. So I think there's a common theme, and it's, like I said, it's a very, very top of the organization.
I would love the Flames to prove us wrong, Robbie.
I would too,
but
I really would. But I'm not holding my breath because what's the old line there? Your past behavior dictates your future behavior.
The best predictor of future behavior is what you've done in the past.
Yeah, and that's basically.
It's not like there's been an ownership change. You're like, oh, how are they going to do this? Right?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, it's been too much in the middle, not enough near the top, and certainly almost nothing at the very bottom. They've never selected in the top three.
They just had the 1 year. It's 13-14. That's literally the only year where they've tried to bottom out.
And I don't even know if they're trying. It just sort of it had to happen. They were so clearly not good enough. It was forced upon them.
Yes, but that 13-14 year, they didn't go out and try to add anybody or anything like that. And that roster was terrible. And they end up getting the 4th overall pick. And that's the only year I can remember them actually being really bad and kind of trying to be bad.
Yeah, fair enough. I want to say thank you to our good friend Derek Newman with the Derek Newman Group at CIR Realty. I saw Derek over the holidays. We shared a cheers at the Flames Oilers Second half of the home and home at the Saddle Dome. That was a blast. The Derek Newman Group with CIR Realty, buying or selling. Let Derek do the work for you. His email, dnewman@cirrealty.ca, or give him a call, 403-619-6661. The website, dereknewmangroup.com. Great with people, great relationships, huge network. And whether it's the first time you ever sold a home or you're someone that's well-seasoned, Derek's going to be there to meet your needs. Talking complimentary home staging consultations, all kinds of expertise in the field. And just a great guy that maybe you just want to text him and say, hey, Derek, why won't they rebuild? He'll respond. That's my guarantee to you. Client events, parties, get-togethers. He's literally a huge piece of the fabric of our community. So if you're looking to buy or sell, make him your first call. Derek Newman Group with CIR Realty. We'll get to some super chats in a moment for the Youth Centers of Calgary. We have our bet of the night. We'll take a look at a monster game in the NFL tomorrow. Do you have a final? Have you seen what shook out with the Niners and the Seahawks, or are we still waiting for a final there? Because we've been dialed into this finish of the game here and Afterburner.
I have not seen anything, and I'm a big Seahawks fan, so I would appreciate it if you didn't spoil it, because I'm hoping to go back and watch.
I have no news for you then.
Okay, I appreciate it. But there's a smirk. There's some head nodding. Oh!
I'm giving you all the faces.
Okay.
You're going to be able to read that. I will allow you to
me out.
But it was essentially win, and it's your division, and that's what we're faced with tomorrow with, in fact, both games today were that. Buccaneers do beat the Panthers 16-14. And tomorrow it's the Steelers and the Ravens. Jack Steelers, the 9-8 perpetually. Mike Tomlin-led Steelers, a loss tomorrow. It would be 9-8 again. And it's John Harbaugh, Lamar Jackson will play, it sounds like, in the Ravens, who have had a myriad of issues, including injuries this year, but a win away from another trip to the playoffs. They looked like maybe the best team in the NFL in week one when they should have beaten Buffalo, if not for a late Josh Allen rally. But it's been rough since then. But here they are. Win, you're in. That's what the Ravens and Steelers are tasked with tomorrow. It is the night game. Look at that. I believe 6:20 our time. Is that some Pacific time you got at the top? You're fooling us here, Robbie?
Yeah, I don't know why that's specific, but yes, it'll be 6:20 our time.
6:20 in Calgary, Ravens, Steelers. Your line 3.5. The Ravens are favored. And this is just a doozy. It's an AFC North grudge match. The Steelers and Ravens. Steelers won the first round of this, I believe, but have struggled since. Loss in Cleveland last week made this relevant. We'll find out which team advances to the playoffs and which will have an incredibly painful offseason where we question their head coach. Tomorrow, 6:20. What's your gut tell you? I kind of like the Ravens a lot, mostly like for just the entertainment value of this show. Producer Jack's a big Steelers guy. It's better the more volatile the Steelers are.
There's definitely an element of like Schadenfreude going on on the show. Like you guys want to see the Steelers lose just to see Jack crash out.
Yeah, we don't want to see them go 1-17. We want to see them go 9-8.
Yes,
again,
absolutely. And just seeing Jack go off the rails here, like Jack loses his mind over like a week 3 loss to the Jacksonville Jaguars. Imagine how he's going to feel if they lose to the Ravens in a win or you're in game. It's going to be amazing. In the last weekend of the season, the last Sunday of their year, it should be magical. Whatever your bet is, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Download the app, get in on the game, use that code NATION when you sign up. Let's get to our super chats. We do that for the Youth Centers of Calgary. All the money you send our way does go to the 2 locations of the Youth Centers of Calgary, helping at-risk youth in our community. You're not shipping your dollars over somewhere else into some other community. It's right here in Calgary, affecting lives of youth, which I think is one of the great causes out there. Uyghur losing the puck battle resulted in the game-winning goal. This is RB-XJ5VO. Yes, I agree, Alphabet Soup. 279. Robbie laid it out. A couple goals. Uyghur's on the wrong end of the highlight reel. That username really rolls off the tongue, hey?
Yeah, it's smooth. Yeah.
No, and like it's too bad though, because this is the year we wanted Mackenzie Uyghur to make Team Canada, and he was very close to making that 4 Nations roster, but just the way he's played this year, you cannot put him on the team. I know he's still on the long list there. He's still getting drug tests and all that kind of stuff, but I just even if there's multiple injuries, I still don't know if I see him making the team.
Also of note, we did see Devin Taves go down tonight in the Colorado game on the blue line. We also saw Tom Wilson very hobbly with Washington this evening. Don't know whether he returned or not, but it's funny. You have these preliminary rosters and then things happen. And then you get to a tournament and other things happen. Kyle Connor, first line for the Americans game 1, healthy scratch in that Four Nations final. But there'll be some movement here. This is an ultra compressed schedule in an Olympic year, and there's lots of hockey before they jump on a jet to Italy. I would be stunned if there isn't at least 1 or 2 injury substitutions across the board.
Yep, I'm with you.
Okay. Next one. Pinder. Bring Bobby into the Daily Show. He's on point. Weir was -2 and is minus 16 on the season. Trade Uyghur. Fire Maloney. Mish McKenna. Those could all be hashtags. I'm not on the trade Uyghur train. Where's his value at? We just kind of told you it's probably as low as it's been as a Flame.
Yeah.
B, you are going to trade Rasmus, and you do want somebody that is a reasonable facsimile of a top 4 defenseman, right?
Yeah, 100%.
And C, I don't know that Uyghur having a bad year now means flush the rest of Uyghur's career. Like, I think this is a bad year like Rasmus had last year. And Uyghur could have a much better year next year. I don't worry about Mackenzie Uyghur not being a good hockey player anymore. It's just been a tough year.
Yeah, 100%. And his first 3 years in Calgary have been fantastic. And I do think he's going to be able to get back to that level one of these days. It could even be this season, maybe an Olympic break and him going off to the beach and relaxing for a bit and coming back. Maybe he'll even get back to form this season. Who knows? But yeah, I'm not on the trade Uyghur bandwagon at all.
Yeah. And to be fair, like, Uyghur's done some pretty heavy lifting. He's played with mostly Miramanov, Hanley, Bean, and Yan Kuznetsov for the last 2 seasons.
Yeah.
Like, tell me which one of those guys is a top 4 NHLer, no doubt in your mind.
None. 0. Says a lot.
I'm trying to make excuses, but let's acknowledge that Rasmus Anderson gets to play with Kevin Ball. He's better than all those guys. Okay. We'll keep moving. Next one. Super chat. Or are we done? Yes. Can't be done.
That's all we got.
Oh, my goodness. The kids.
The chat was...
Think of the children. Come on.
Chat wasn't doing it. You know what I was noticing? And this is a very, very non-hockey comment. If you were wearing my Macho Man Randy Savage shirt in your purple set, and I was wearing your red plaid shirt with my outfit, we'd be dialed. I even got the plaid on the wall here. We got this backwards.
We got to
work on our wardrobe.
I'll give you a phone call. We'll plan our outfits for our next Afterburner session together.
Yasmin, can you set up a spreadsheet for us in terms of just maybe color palette, what we're doing?
Set matching and everything.
Yeah, well, sure. I mean, geez, we got our shirts off today. We apologize for that. We apologize for nothing else. Thank you for being with us on Afterburner today. I believe that's all the business we have to get to. Bobby, final note. Team Canada at the World Juniors has been some really fun hockey to watch. The whole tournament's been really fun. The Americans ousted on home soil. Tough for them. Less tough for everyone else who's watched them win the last 2 tournaments. And for the Canadians who have stumbled on home soil as recently as last year. Just thoughts on what you've seen from Cole Reshny, Zane Parekh, Team Canada, and any other final thoughts as the field is now down to 4 teams as we head to the semis.
Yeah, I don't know if anyone's going to be able to stop Canada. They looked fantastic in the quarters. They looked great against Finland. I'm very excited to see what they can do against the Czechs. It's turning into a great rivalry. As for Zane Parekh, I think he's been the most dangerous player on Team Canada. It just feels like every time he touches the puck, something good is happening, particularly in the offensive zone. He's been great on the power plays. Outlet passes are amazing. Like, this kid is so talented. It's unbelievable how skilled he is. So I've loved watching him. You know, he's leading the tournament, scoring with 10 points in 5 games. And then Reshny, I thought he got off to a slow start, but man, he's really started to pick it up, and he's turned into a really important player, both on, in the 200-foot game, power play, face-offs. Like, he's kind of doing it all. So really impressed what I'm seeing from Calgary's prospects at the World Juniors.
Where does Parekh go after the tournament?
Oh, you know what? This is kind of where I come down on it. If the Calgary Flames are going to treat Parekh and handle Parekh the way they did in his first 2 months in the NHL, send him back to the OHL. He doesn't need to deal with that right now. If they're going to change their approach and they're going to give him a role and they're going to play him and they're not going to sit him and move him around the lineup and they're going to put him on the power play, then keep him in the NHL. But if they're just going to continue to kind of jerk him around the lineup and you're in, you're out, you're in, you're out, you're not on the power play, you're on the power play. That's not ideal for a player of Parek's caliber. So if they treat him the same, send him back to the OHL. If they're going to change their approach and give him a role, then keep him in the NHL. That's kind of where I'm at. How about you?
I'm bringing him back. I don't know that he could definitely go back to the O and dominate. I don't think that makes him a better player. The comments he made were interesting, sort of saying, I think personality is important, helps grow the game. He doesn't get too specific, but he said I was kind of told to just, not say too much to the media, and keeps talking about how much he's loving it. He wishes this tournament would keep going on. Don't know that we're done with that. And to be fair, the coach's job is to develop talent, but he's going to be hired and judged on his resume of wins and losses. And something that would really help a lot, Bobby, would be if there was an opening on the right side for top 4 minutes in the near future for Zane Parekh.
Totally.
Because again, he's right shot, and they've continued to play Uyghur and Anderson there. You didn't draft Zane Parekh to have play the third pair. He can do it as he, cuts his teeth, sure. But what you're seeing is a guy that amongst his brethren, all the non-NHLers, so outside of the top 7 kids in his birth year, he's dominating. Like, would you let the kid play?
And you make a great point about Anderson. If the Flames hold on to Anderson until the week of the trade deadline, all of a sudden there's another month of hockey where Zane Parech's not going to be playing. So
or
that's another
Brstevich down and he's in, but
But do you want to do that though? Brstevich has been really good.
Of course he has, but you can't send Parekh to the A, and Brstevich is not going to fail as a prospect if he goes to the A. And I do think it's integral for this coach and this player to start building something that will work in the future. So if it's sending Parekh to the OHL versus Brstevich to the A, you can see which way I'm leaning.
Yeah.
Brstevich playing in the A has not hurt him. You don't have that option with Parekh. I have no interest in seeing him go to Saginaw. He's too good for that league. He's shown you.
I agree.
He's got the best 20 to 30 players from that entire league, the CHL, spread out over these, 8 to 10 teams in the World Juniors. I don't even see it. He's going to dominate. I don't care. Yeah. You didn't draft him to see him dominate in junior. Figure out the NHL thing. Team player, let's go.
The 100% the ideal circumstance is that he's in the NHL, but would you not agree with me in the sense that the coaching staff has not necessarily handled it perfectly? And I think that Parech's comments at the World Juniors kind of tell you that a little bit. Do you think that they need to change their approach when it comes to him?
Yeah. And maybe the plan they had in place was to have him in a significant role by now, but the injury derailed things, and maybe Brstevich emerging changes things too. But I didn't have a problem with, he's played 11 games, I think it is, right? Mm-hmm. It's one helper in 11 games. If you want to ease a guy in his first month, that's great. But you're now into the new year on a full season. They've got to figure out how to get him in to the mix here. And if he's not here, they're not working on a solution, right? If he's here, they're going to have the hard, okay, how do we get Zane some minutes? Does he work on power play 1? If he's in Saginaw, they're not solving any of that. They're just shelving it until next fall.
Yeah, you're right. But the other thing too is when I think of Ryan Huska, I think of a guy who, he's coaching for his career. And if he thinks that this Flames team, who's been very good over the last 8 weeks here, if he thinks that this is the right lineup for them, I could see him sticking with it. And I could see him, not wanting to play Zane all that much. So like you said, Huska and Parekh and Conroy, they got to figure out this whole situation, because Zane can't come back and be a healthy scratch once every 4 games and play 10 minutes a night and continue to get hit and have no confidence shown in him by the coaching staff. That just can't happen with him. Because Zane, he seems like a really interesting guy. It seems like, he really thrives off of confidence. And if he's going to come back to the Calgary Flames and the Flames are just going to continue to treat him the way they did to start the season, then he's not going to be a confident guy. He's going to be miserable in that environment. And I also don't know if that's good for his development either. So it's a pretty interesting kind of delicate situation they're in right now.
I agree. Yeah, I'm fascinated to see. I would hate to see him go back to junior, but Yeah, you can't say what they've done at this point has worked at the NHL level.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it definitely hasn't.
Thank you for your work as always, Yasmin. I was sent an email. You're not an intern. We've hired you. You are here working for us. You'll always be Yasmin, the intern for me, and I'm sorry.
It's all good. That's fine.
Great work producing tonight. Bobby, happy 2026. Hope you had a great holiday. Thanks for joining us tonight. This has been Afterburner. We'll see you, buddies.